When Fenton Scully reached me, I was in Dallas. He sounded frightened and desperate, so I didn't ask him any questions. He told me where I could find him in Newhall, and I lost no time in getting there. A boarding house was a strange address for Fenton Scully. He was worth several $1 million. He had told me he was staying here under the name of Bill Blake.
Who's there?
Lanyard. Hello, Fenton.
Oh, I thought you'd never get here. Mike, come in. You weren't followed.
I hardly think so. Of course, I don't know who would be following me or why.
Oh, Mike, it's a nightmare.
Suppose you start from the beginning.
I left Chicago about 2 weeks ago. I told my wife and everyone I was going fishing in the Rockies. I didn't want to involve you, Mike. But finally, I couldn't stand it any longer. I needed help. I'll pay you anything.
This one's on the house.
I was on my way to the club one night when I saw 2 men jump out of a car and shoot a man. They didn't see me until after they fired the shots. I was afraid, so I ran away, but they got a good look at me. When I got home that night, I received a threatening phone call. They told me to keep my mouth shut or my entire family would be in danger.
You should have gone to the police, Fenton.
I was afraid. I took a plane to Los Angeles. They trailed me there, so I came here to Newhall. Someone's in the hall.
The sheriff's office, and 2 minutes later, Sheriff Lee was in the room. The coroner had pronounced Scully dead. Sheriff Lee was convinced I had something to do with the murder. Fortunately for me, the local newspaper editor heard of the shooting and came to the boarding house. I say fortunately because he happened to be an old friend of mine. We had met when he was with the AP in New York. His name was Tom Steele.
Sheriff, I've known Mike for years. Take my word for it, he's telling the truth.
Thanks, Tom. Let him get an extra on the street, saying an attempt was made on Scully's life, but it failed. That he's still alive. Whoever shot him might try again.
That's easy to do. Let me go along with that. I'll personally vouch for Lanyard. If anything goes wrong, I'll take the rap.
How do I know this isn't a stall, that Lanyard isn't holding out on me?
You know me pretty well by now. You'll just have to take my word for it.
Here's the wire Scully sent me. He was in trouble before I arrived.
Yeah, but I'd like to find out a few more things.
We haven't time.
I don't know you, Lanyard, but I trust Steele. If he wants to go along with you in this, it's okay with me. Just be sure you keep me posted on everything that happens.
Sure. I found this key on the dresser. The tag says the Grand, Los Angeles. Scully must have rented a room there before he came to Newhall. I'm going down there. Might lead to something.
Now I'll start a rundown on all the tourists in town.
As a safety measure, say that Scully is being held in some unnamed place instead of in the local hospital. Play it up, huh?
Yeah, I'd better get going.
I'll go with you. Before I leave, I have to check your newspaper morgue.
I'll call the coroner, make sure he tells no one that Scully's dead.
Wasn't sure just where to start, but I had an idea that perhaps the key I'd found in Scully's room would help. It was better than nothing. I headed for L.A. It took a little time before I found the Grand. It was located in the old section of Los Angeles. It was a boarding house. I took a chance that Scully had used the name of Bill Blake.
you did startle me. For a moment, I thought you were my brother. He died last week, you know.
I'm Michael Lanyard.
Mrs. Bell. Striking resemblance.
I'm looking for Mr. Blake.
I don't know where he is.
He must have left a message or a forwarding address.
I haven't seen him for 2 days.
I'd like to see his room. Do you mind?
Oh, I couldn't do that. Well, all right. He was about your weight. My brother, you know. Do you believe in reincarnation?
I never thought about it.
What do you do, Mr. Lanyard?
A little of everything.
My brother, he sold insurance.
Yeah? In a way, I sell insurance, too.
Well.
Thanks.
Oh, excuse me. Here's my telephone.
Sure. Now I knew the murder that Fenton Scully had witnessed, and I also knew Babe Jano. He was one of the biggest racketeers in the country. The cigarette that I had picked up was a Q-Beb, a brand smoked by people who had asthma. I knew that Fenton didn't have asthma, and as I remembered, neither did Babe Jano.
Mr. Lanyard,
Yes?
I'm Frances Key. Mr. Blake was only here a week, but I got to know him. I felt sorry for him. He seemed awful upset, like he needed someone to talk to. Then he just vanished.
Did he say where he was going?
Is he in trouble with the police or something?
No.
2 nights ago, he was down in this bar where I work. Some woman came in, and at the sight of her, he ducked out the back way.
What did she look like?
Not bad. Expensive. When I got home, Mr. Blake had already left. Late that night, I heard some guy snooping around in his room. When I started to open the door, some guy beat it out the window.
Oh, it's you, Mr. Lanyard.
Fortunately, Newhall isn't a big city. There are only 2 drugstores in town. I went to one and then the other. I leveled with the druggists and told them it was very important to call me if anyone came in to buy Q-Beb cigarettes. I then checked with Tom Steele. Sheriff Lee was with him.
We've had a lot of inquiries out of Chicago. We can't put them off much longer.
You'll have to stall them somehow.
How can I stall Scully's family?
Oh, you'd have to tell them the truth.
Yeah, that's a job I don't relish.
Don't tell them I'm here. I can't afford to be seen with them. It might tip my hand.
Well, something's got to happen real quick.
I hope so. My hunch looked right because the following day the Central Pharmacy called. They said a woman was there ordering Q-Beb cigarettes. I got a good picture of her and sent it on to Frances in Los Angeles with instructions for her to call me right away.
That's her, all right. It's like I said, when she came into the bar, Mr. Blake ducked out the back way.
The next morning, I registered at the Circle J Ranch. Nobody knew better than I how important it was to move quickly. To pretend that Scully was alive was not easy. Maybe we could get away with it for a few more days. Betty. For Scully's wife. I should have known she'd find me. Sit down.
I know you don't want to see me. But I had to see you. Mike, I don't understand.
You have to understand. If we're seen together, it'll ruin my chances of catching the men who murdered your husband.
What difference would that make now? He's dead.
It makes quite a difference.
I want to take him home.
I know what I'm going to ask you won't seem easy. But I want you to pretend, for a few days at least, that he's still alive.
I can't.
It's our only chance. Whoever killed him might try again, give himself away.
What difference would it make? It can't bring Fenton back.
No, I know. But there are other Fentons. We have to think of them, too.
I know what you say is right. I just don't think I can go through with it.
Fenton made a mistake. He should never have run away. By the time he realized that it was too late. He sent for me because he wanted to stop running. He wanted to do something about it. But he never had a chance. But it's not too late for you and me.
All right, Mike. I'll try.
I knew you would.
What am I to do?
I want you to go to the sheriff's office every day. He'll drive you out into the country as though you're seeing Fenton. If anyone asks how he is, tell them he's feeling better.
All right. I'll try.
I know how difficult this must be for you. Thanks. By the time lunch came around, I'd learned quite a bit about the woman who had bought the Cubeb cigarettes. Her name was Barbara Kincaid. She was from Chicago. She spent all of her time with a man named Philip Bourne. It was said they were engaged. I'm going to leave. I guessed that Philip Bourne and his girlfriend might be tied up with Babe Jano. Only it was too late to guess. I had to be sure. If I said I knew you from someplace, I'd be lying. In fact, I must admit you don't even look familiar. All I can say is, I'd like to know you.
Nobody's fighting you.
I'm Michael Lanyard.
Barbara Kincaid.
What are you drinking?
Nothing, thanks. I thought I might go into town tonight.
I'll drive you in.
Phil wouldn't like that.
Who's Phil?
You stared at us long enough to know.
I was staring at you.
I'll be at the Kiva Club. It's nice meeting you.
Goodbye.
Afraid you're being followed?
No. I was looking for a waiter.
I don't feel like drinking.
Dance?
I don't like to dance.
We could go for a long ride.
I get car sick.
A midnight swim?
I don't bowl or play tennis either. I'm afraid you're going to find me kind of dull. You'd better leave me here. Phil's room's right next to mine. It was a wonderful evening. Can I see you tomorrow?
Yeah.
Where?
Same place.
Phil's going away tomorrow. He won't be back till tomorrow night. I could be there by noon.
It had been easy. Maybe too easy. I had to be careful. I couldn't afford to make a mistake. I I watched Phil Bourne leave his cottage, and I remember that Barbara had said he wouldn't be back until evening. A few minutes later, Barbara left to keep her appointment with me. Barbara would have to wait for me because I was going to be late. I wanted to get into Bourne's room through the connecting door. It was locked. I used a skeleton key to open it. Phil Bourne's room had all the answers. A carton of cubebs. Enough guns to start a small war. And some adrenaline.
What goes on?
I was waiting to see you.
You'd better have a good reason. What are you doing here?
Well, I figured we ought to meet and talk.
Yeah? About what?
Barbara,
What about her?
I intend to see her whenever I can.
Stay away from her.
Let her decide. It was no longer a mystery. I was sure that Bourne was my man, but the evidence I had wasn't strong enough. A smart lawyer could beat the case. I had stirred up some trouble, and I had an idea that Bourne would make the next move. Hello?
Mike?
Yes, who is this?
Barbara, are you out of your mind?
What do you mean?
I got tired of waiting for you and came back to the ranch and ran into Phil. You'd better get over here right away.
Is Phil with you?
No, not now.
I'll be right over.
Come in, Mike.
Been a long time, Lanyard.
Not so long, Jono.
For me, it has been a long time.
Looks like a meeting of the clan.
I thought I'd come down here when I heard your name.
Where's Scully?
I hear he went fishing.
Fool them, not me.
I'd like to find him. You tell me. Where is he?
You were with Scully in the boarding house. Now you know why I'm here. Why don't you make it easy on yourself?
You can't get away with murder, Jono. You're through.
Big talk doesn't go with me.
And you'll be running things your way too long.
Let him go. Nothing's changed, believe me. Now, where's Scully? Where is he?
Okay. I've got him on the ranch. A couple of miles off Highway 88.
How do we get there?
He's gonna show us, aren't you? Give him your coat. Hand me my hat. Put this coat on. I don't want anybody to recognize you in the car. Now, look, my car's in the back. Now, meet me on a back road.
I had to drive someplace, so I took the first dusty road that led up the mountainside. With the dust blowing, the chances were good that it would soon have an effect on Phil Bourne. Finally, we came to a construction block in the road. I told Jenna that Scully was hiding in a house on the other side of the hill. Jenna was getting nervous, and I couldn't stall much longer. The three of us got out of the car and started walking.
Bourne, you come with me. Barbara, you stay in the car. All right, get going.
If I was right, the dust had to get Phil Bourne. I started walking where it was heaviest. The dust had to be the answer. I was counting on it. I kept kicking it up as we walked. It wasn't long before it paid off. Bourne began to cough and wheeze. Finally, he couldn't go any farther.
Hey, Jano.
What's the matter with you?
I can't go any farther. The dust. I've got an attack.
All right, get in the car and wait with Barbara. I'll take care of this guy alone.
Thanks.
All right, get going.
The odds were now even. We walked over the hill and Jano stopped. He asked where the house was. It was a long shot.